Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, First of all, kudos to the organizers, to Akhai Saab, who's the glue who keeps us all together, Mr. Qureshi, who is conducting this large webinar despite the technical difficulties. But more so to our honored guests who have joined us from the UK. And of course, Ms. Rihana Hashmi, whose contribution to the cause is well known. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Hashmi rightly pointed out the plight of women and children, which basically shows that it's not a law and order or counter-terrorism exercise that India is engaged in. It's brute force and inhumanity in its worst manifestation. When you are not even sparing women and children, when you are using rape as a weapon of war, when you are dishonoring women, when you are blinding young men, picking them up and making them disappear without any crime or without any trial, you're trying to, snuff out the flower of youth and the future generations. It basically shows how peaceful you are, despite the protestations and despite the PR, the glitzy PR that we have the misfortune of enduring from the fabrication factories that India is running, as was shown by the EU Disinfo Lab report. And then Mr. Nazir Qureshi rightly pointed out, the treatment that is being meted out to, other minorities. That is also indicative of the pernicious mindset that the Hindutva-inspired BJP/RSS duo have. And of course, he raised a very important point. Why is there no forward movement? This is a question that bedevils us all. We as diplomats, His Lordship as a politician, as a concerned Kashmiri, and then our brothers and sisters who are in Canada and the UK and the US, especially those who hail from the beautiful yet tortured valley of Kashmir. Where do we go from here? And this, ladies and gentlemen, takes us to the heart of the matter. Will sanity prevail? That was the whole idea of the post-Second World War world. Let sanity prevail. Let negotiations prevail. Let us not dehumanize others in the name of nationalism and materialism. Let us treat humans as humans. We have an extensive Charter of Human Rights, the right to life being the most fundamental one, and the way it is being trampled upon. And we hear different statistics, and it is almost like morbid and numbing, how we bandy about these figures. So many have died, so many have been raped. What I would submit to you is that even one murder is one too many. Even one woman dishonored is one too many. And Kashmiris have this misfortune of being reduced to statistics, which we, mention and then we move on. And the world has to wake up. And then, as His Lordship rightly, pointed out, the need for, that it's the unfinished agenda and the need for negotiation. And the disaster that awaits the world if it is not satisfactorily resolved. And this again is a very valid concern. In a region which is which is a nuclear armed region, can we really afford this orgy of hatred and murder and mayhem that has been unleashed by a very irresponsible regime, which is inspired by some fanciful mythology, a larger than life perception of itself, this supremacist ideas. And so the world is basically quoting disaster by looking the other way, by thinking that India is too commercially viable, so let them be, or because Indians have been running this smoke screen of lies by first of all downplaying it. Oh, it's no big deal, and it's not a big thing. The Pakistanis are promoting cross-border terrorism. That was the first tired mantra. And then came, it's the Kashmiris are very happy. They've gone to the polls so many times. And then we hear things like, oh, we are pouring so much money into, this Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and the Kashmiris are really having a wall of a time. And all this noise is just being made by Pakistan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to social media, and thanks to the fact that we have now, I mean, millions, tens of millions of Android and other users, even in developing countries. So no one has a monopoly over information anymore. So people can see what India is doing, the kind of state terrorism that has been unleashed. And if all is well, why have we why have we turned Kashmir into the largest concentration camp in the world? Why has it been more than 550 days that Kashmiris are being held incommunicado? And think about it. Think about it from the perspective of a resident of the Western Hemisphere, where if a website doesn't load, or the some video doesn't load in a webinar, we feel frustrated. Imagine what those people are going through. Imagine they're being bereft of medical facilities, basic human dignity, basic needs, and this is something that something has got to give. It is in the very nature of things. And I would conclude by raising a point. Now, think about it. Right now, it is estimated that if you add up the number of troops, veterans from the US and the UK and Canada, war veterans who are suffering from post traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, it's more than 500,000. I'm giving a very safe estimate. Now, these are, soldiers trained for battle, not to shy away from blood and gore. And look what war and conflict has done to them. Now, imagine the plight of the Kashmiris, women and children, old people, innocent citizens who are not, battle hardened, or who haven't been trained to, put up with these ravages and atrocities. Just imagine the kind of trauma they are suffering from. And I made this point. Here there was an event about mental health here in Ottawa, and I raised this point that imagine what the Kashmiris are going through, and it has been internationally acknowledged that because of this Indian atrocities, so many people in Kashmir have developed, mental disorders. So, what I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that uh, Pacific settlement of disputes, which is the bedrock of the UN system, negotiations, all of these, principles of decency are at stake. The Prime Minister of Pakistan has time and again, even today, when addressing a rally, he has reiterated the call for negotiations. Our very energetic Foreign Minister, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, has lost no opportunity to emphasize that Pakistan wants dialogue and negotiations. And we appeal to all right-thinking world, people of the world, to strengthen our hands and not to strengthen the narrative of violence, the narrative of extremists who basically poke fun at people like you and me, that we are just, word merchants, we just talk while Kashmir is burning. And let us not be, branded as the proverbial Nero who fiddles, while Rome burns. So let us all rise to the occasion, and my profound gratitude to all of you for keeping this issue alive and for not succumbing to Indian lies that all is well and we don't have to worry and it is just a glitch that will go away. Thank you all very much. God bless.